enter the man Jack Grealish. Now, Jack Grealish has seen some resurgence in his career. But what if I told you that this particular Englishman who cost 100 million pounds sterling from the Manchester, Manchester City needed to dole out 100 million to get this particular gentleman, Jack Grealish, from Aston Villa? Would you believe? However, for such statement signings, you'd expect him to walk as a superstar directly into the team. But what happened? He had to sit on the bench and watch his teammates lift trophies after trophies after trophies, watching them go by. Not that he was not getting a winners medal, but he was not actively taking part in what was happening. Now, stepping forward to a season where he was fantastic during the preliminary stages of the FA Cup, only to get into the final, to be excluded from the lineup and did not even play on that day. For someone like this who has shown through that tournament that he was the player to actually be looked upon, he was rather looked down upon. Jack Grealish has had it all. At City, he decided that, okay, it's August 2025. It's time for me to jump ship. Where do I go? Where do I go? Everton came calling with a loan move, and he agreed to move and go to Everton, where they have just gone into their new stadium. That is the Hill Dickinson Stadium inside Merseyside. Now, that is where the story begins to change for the young man known as Jack Grealish. In his first 30 days at the club, he has already moved from a flop to what is now termed Player of the Month for the entire EPL for August 2025. When he was not getting minutes inside Manchester City, the criticisms on social media was off and way through the roof. However, he used that as fuel to just re-engineer his system and get the best out of himself. For the first 4 games inside Everton for the EPL season, the man Jack Grealish has been able to get 4 assists, earning him that title of Player of the Month of August 2025. But what has changed? That is the big question we're trying to find out here. What has changed? A lot has changed. Now, let me bring you some couple of issues that have changed with the man Jack Grealish. When Jack Grealish moved to Manchester City, everybody was expecting him to be that phenomenal dribbler, splitting teams, rolling in between the lines and causing chaos. However, under a Pep Guardiola well-structured team, he became someone who was rather used to hold the width and also recycle possession. That part of his creativity where he was just cutting in from the left-hand side, causing trouble in the left-hand channel, and also just assisting a lot of goals, was disappearing and eventually got out of his system. Under the man, David Moyes, the man Jack Grealish has refound such freedom. Why? Because the man, David Moyes, sets up his team in such a way that allows more freedom to the man, Jack Grealish, to cause more chaos and incursions. Now, look at this particular screen and look at this. It's very beautiful when you see the man, Jack Grealish, who is now virtually going to be running into space from this ball from Dewsbury Hall. Another gentleman we'll be looking at in coming weeks to see how he has also let new breath into his footballing career. So just turning 30, you would expect Jack Grealish to be slowing down. But it looks like the years of not being so actively used as Manchester City has come into play here. Now, he moves into such spaces, and what does he do? He, instead of going for the shot, looks for options here in Ndai and also up there. Now, let's move it along. This is Jack Grealish when you progress that play. Iliman Ndai is actually going to connect with this ball. Jack Grealish is a player who actually has the skill to hit the target. However, using the creativity he has now and the freedom he has at play and not being a width holder, he is able to pick such brilliant passes in the midfield or in the middle of the 6-yard box, allow the likes of Iliman Ndai, who is playing as a false 9 for the team Everton, to be scoring some interesting goals. Now let's check out another of such opportunities. So ball came in from a set piece sort of situation gets to Jacko Grealish and then lays it down again for another player who also plays in the central position, Beto, to just connect beautifully there. Jack Grealish is creating more chances than he ever did at the team Manchester City. And so far, he has 4 assists, more than an entire season. Yes, more than seasons that he had at Manchester City. Now let's move it on and look at his carries, which have been one of the key points that he has been banking on this season since joining the team Everton. And this data is provided by Opta. Big shout outs going out to the guys inside Opta. And so far, he has had about 37 carries. And these carries have mostly come from the left-hand side of attack. Carrying the ball is one of his strongest points as a player, and he has been doing that exceptionally well to his best ability, and that's what's happening inside that part of things. So another point here where he's beautifully teaming up with the man, yes, Kelvin Dewsbury Hall. It was not to be at Chelsea. There were a lot of bodies in midfield. He also had to be moved on, and Everton snapped him up for a very sumptuous fee there. But Jacko Grealish here now, because of his creativity and eye for that pass, is able to see where Dewsbury Hall will be kicking this ball into, and is going to dash there and then lob that ball beautifully for the likes of Beto to connect with. Now, inside Manchester City, this would never have been the position or situation, because City's intricate passes closes up a lot of such spaces and allows Jack Grealish to only hug the line, because that was what he was supposed to do in such a structured system, which seemed that was going to liberate him, no, but rather imprison him into becoming a wide width holder who always recycled possession. So Jack Grealish is having an integral and important season for the team Everton. But the question now is, would this continue deep into the season? Already 30 days after leaving Manchester City, you have been crowned EA Sports Player of the Year. That's a Player of the Year. He could get it, but Player of the Month of August 2025. Jack Grealish, ladies and gentlemen, looks like he has just proven Pep wrong in just 30 days.